Good morning and welcome, everyone. I'm Tremaine Wright, the chair of the Cannabis Control Board. It's great to be here with all of you today. And recognizing that we have a majority of board members present, I am pleased to call to order another meeting of the Cannabis Control Board and to welcome all of you who are participating in person or via live stream. I would like to note that Board Member Perry is participating from a publicly accessible location in Buffalo, and board members Dr. Jennifer Gilbert Jenkins and Jessica Garcia are joining via live stream from a private location due to extraordinary circumstances. As always, this meeting will be recorded and the transcript will be available to the public on the Office of Cannabis Management's website, cannabis.ny.gov. And additional information on the Cannabis Control Board meetings is also available on the website. Today's agenda is being amended as follows to reflect that the settlement agreement is being removed from the agenda. It is not prepared to come before the board, and therefore the agenda now includes brief opening remarks from myself, a review and approval of the meeting minutes from the Cannabis Control Board meeting held on October 17th, consideration of cannabinoid hemp regulations, consideration of establishing laboratory permit fees, consideration of registered organization renewals, a report from the Office of Cannabis Management's Executive Director, Chris Alexander. Then we'll have public comment on the items considered during today's meeting, and then we will adjourn. So, we at the Control Board are responsible for approving regulations that provide necessary and impactful guardrails for the budding adult use cannabis industry. We take our mission seriously, and we are committed to creating a comprehensive regulatory framework to provide consumers and those seeking care through cannabis to get what they need in a safe and responsible manner. I'm sure it's not lost on anyone present today, but we're building the most accessible and inclusive cannabis market in the world. And thanks to our regulations, we'll make sure this industry is home to a diverse array of independent operators who represent the best of the Empire State. The regulations we will be discussing today speak to the high standards we hold our licensees and operators to, and to our commitment of making sure the rules are clear, helpful, and grounded in the values imbued in the MRTA. And of course, the road to this moment hasn't always been easy. I would be remiss not to acknowledge the incredible sacrifice and resilience of card licensees who continue to persevere. Designing a new framework for an equitable and diverse adult use cannabis market takes grit, faith, and determination. The CARD program stands as the first time that any state cannabis program has led with directing opportunity to those who are most impacted by outdated cannabis policies, including convictions for a cannabis offense. As we look ahead, I want to thank New Yorkers who continue to invest their dollars and their trust in the legal cannabis shops because they know when they walk through those doors, they are buying locally grown, lab-tested, high-quality products. And we will and we must continue to expand the opportunity for all to participate in this growing market. We know that New Yorkers are ready, and we will continue, and they will continue to spend their dollars in legal adult use shops across the state. And today, we are several steps closer to making that opportunity more accessible in New York City, in the North Country, in Western New York, and all across this state. The MRTA was born out of a vision of equity, a promise to right past wrongs of prohibition, but most importantly, the MRTA was created to serve as an engine to build a bright and dynamic market. The future of the legal cannabis industry is here, and I want to thank everyone in this room, watching online, for your tireless efforts to shape a bright and dynamic future. Our first order of business will be the review and approval of the meeting minutes from the October 17th, 2023 Cannabis Control Board meeting. May I please have a motion to consider and approve the October 17th, 2023 board meeting minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion by any board members regarding these minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 It's unanimous. Thank you. The motion to approve the October 17th, 2023 board meeting minutes carries. For our first resolution today, may I please have a motion to consider resolution number 2023-42, resolution to consider the cannabinoid hemp regulations.
So
So
moved.
moved.
I'm going to take it. Can I count you as the second?
Second.
Okay. So we have a first by Gilbert Jenkins and a second by Hope Knight. I'll ask our OCM Executive Director, Chris Alexander, to please provide a brief overview of this resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to board members and those joining us. As you know, these are the regulations that were introduced as emergency regulations back in July. The public comment period for these regulations concluded on October 10th. We received approximately 218 comments from 86 individuals and organizations. As you're aware, the amendments to the regulations establish limits on the total THC and cannabinoid levels and a minimum allowable CBD to THC ratio in cannabinoid hemp products, really to ensure that consumers are not misled and essentially having adverse events from products that they don't intend to have. Additionally, these regulations prohibit the sale of any cannabinoid hemp product containing over 0.5 milligrams of total THC per serving to individuals under the age of 21. In drafting these regulations, the office reviewed numerous studies, completed regulatory analysis of the several states with THC limits imposed on CBD products, toward the available peer-reviewed literature and task force recommendations from 3 states that convene task forces, as well as analyzed numerous studies to determine the appropriate level of THC in cannabinoid hemp products. This was a thoughtful effort and approach, but just like all regulations, we'll continue to fine-tune these regulations as we move forward and continue to learn more. Adoption of these regulations will help ensure that we continue to protect public health and safety and the welfare of consumers from the immediate threat posed by intoxicating cannabinoid hemp products currently being sold outside of our licensed dispensary framework in New York State. Thanks, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Chris. Is there any discussion, questions, or comment by any board members? Okay. Hearing none, I will call for a vote. Dr. Gilbert Jenkins,
Aye.
Ms. Garcia,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Ms. Knight,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative as well. The motion to approve resolution number 2023-42, a resolution to consider the cannabinoid hemp regulations carries. For our next order of business, may I please have a motion to consider resolution number 2023-43, a resolution to consider laboratory permit fees.
So moved.
Have a second? Do I have a second? Ms.
Second.
Garcia? A second. I'll now ask Nicole Rosa, the Director of Health and Safety, to provide a brief overview of the laboratory testing fees.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. Part 130 of Title IX Laboratory Regulations requires laboratories to pay a fee for an annual permit at the time of application or renewal of their permit. These regulations require an applicant to pay the permit fee based on gross annual receipts as determined by the board. Permits will be expiring on March 31st of 2024. As we prepare for laboratory permit renewals, the office is recommending a proposal to the board today for consideration to establish the laboratory permit fees. After conducting a review of other laboratory fee methodologies, we propose to charge each laboratory a percentage based on its gross annual receipts that will cover a portion of the operating costs of the office's cannabis laboratory compliance operations. The laboratory would be invoiced to pay 1% of its gross annual receipts for the testing of cannabis products over the previous year, or $1,000, whichever is greater. As the industry stabilizes and additional permitted laboratories are in full operation, the office will reassess the percentage of gross annual receipts to be invoiced and recommend changes, if any, and recommend those changes to the board. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Nicole. Are there any questions or comments from board members regarding this? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Dr. Gilbert Jenkins.
Aye.
Ms. Garcia.
Aye.
Mr. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Knight.
Aye.
And I vote in the affirmative as well. The motion carries. The motion to approve resolution number 2023-43, resolution to consider laboratory permit fees carries. Now, considering our next order of business, may I please have a motion to consider resolution number 2023-44, a resolution to consider registered organization renewals.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a second? I'll ask our Executive Director, Chris Alexander, to provide a brief overview of the registered organization renewals. I'm sorry, I believe Ms. Garcia is recusing herself from this discussion.
I would like to, yes, to avoid the potential appearance of conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you. Overview, please.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. The state's registered organizations are required to apply for renewal of their registration every 2 years. Since the passage of the MRTA, there were some additional requirements included in their requirements for renewal. And so this year, we are pleased to present now the 9 of the 10 registered organizations who are ready for renewal. Included in those updates, some of the items that they had to address, an explanation of how they've minimized adverse environmental impacts, a plan for implementing an environmental sustainability plan, explanation of some of the research, education, outreach they've performed or plan to perform, how they plan to become more culturally, linguistically, and medically competent to serve unserved and underserved areas of the state, and a description of any activities that the RO has initiated or plans to initiate to have a more positive impact on the communities in which they operate. So today we're offering 9 of those organizations for renewal of their medical registration. And I'm here pleased to answer any questions.
Yes. Are there any questions from any members?
Can I just ask a quick clarification?
Sure.
So these are 9 that are ready. Does that mean that the others aren't up for renewal yet, or they're not ready for renewal? Meaning there were things that they had to correct first?
There's some things that they have to correct. Not yet submitted all required, or all documents submitted have not yet met the satisfaction of the office.
Okay, thank you.
The information said that their plans are either current or forward-looking. Have any of the ROs actually executed any of let's start with their plans, like their engagement, community engagement plans?
I won't speak to individual registered organizations, but yes, is the broad statement.
How many have actually engaged? Because we didn't get that was not clear in our information. It says a plan, but it does not state who's been doing it, because this isn't a new requirement, is it?
This is one of those new requirements.
This is from the last year.
Yeah, there's some.
So
So there were 2
year?
Yeah, there were 2 places where we amended. First was the amendments to the medical regulations, where we added language that came over from the passage of the MRTA to ensure, particularly language around them becoming more culturally, linguistically, and medically competent, which was not a previous, or the community engagement plan, which were not previous requirements of the program before the passage of the new law.
So have any of them actually have any of them actually executed any of these plans, or are all of them prospective?
some do capture past outreach and engagement efforts, and some of the organizations have been doing that work for some time without, it being an actual requirement of the program. But yes, some of the plans are prospective, some are activities that are ongoing now.
And have any of them executed any of the sustainability programs, or are they all prospective?
Those are all prospective. Those were included in our most recent regulations.
And so none of them are participating in that. Okay. I also wanted to ask, just as an FYI, for people who are concerned with what the quality of product is here, I know that we asked them about their percentage of products that actually might be failing. I noticed that you said that they do give us that information. And my understanding is that we are seeing very low rates of failure for quality inspection. Is that correct?
Nicole, are you still on the line, Director of Health and Safety?
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you could answer, because I know we get a percentage of the lots that pass and or fail. So I would like to know if you can characterize that for us.
Yeah, the registered organizations actually have a high percentage of lots that pass the mandatory compliance testing. They're actually also held to similar standards to the adult use, with the exception of the total yeast and mold and total aerobic bacteria, where the registered organizations have a cutoff, mostly because they are indoor grow versus the adult use that are outdoor grown.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, I just want to, again, caveat, a lot of the changes from the updated regulations as well as from the statute are really trying to push our current registered organizations to being a broader part of the cannabis industry that we're building here. And so these plans will be able to be reviewed every 2 years by the board, at which point the board can decide if some of these plans are not up to snuff, essentially, and can decide to not reissue a registration.
Okay, so these participants have been supplying our medical community for a long time. These are new endeavors for them. We just really wanted to get an idea of what it looks like currently in the marketplace and what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And if they are engaging in this, or if this is all perspective looking, it sounds like we should be seeing some new activity from these licensees over the next year.
Absolutely. And that's the purpose of having that plan, which was a statutory requirement. So now we can actually hold them accountable to doing the things that they said they would do.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, or none, I'll call for the vote. Dr. Gilbert Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Garcia?
She
Oh,
recused
I'm
herself.
sorry, she is recused. Mr. Perry?
I abstain.
Ms. Knight?
Aye.
And I vote in the affirmative as well. The motion to approve resolution number 2023-44, a resolution to consider registered organization renewals, carries. Can someone please let Ms. Garcia know that we're moving to the next item? At that point, we have now completed all of our resolutions before us today. So I'm going to ask our executive director if you would please provide an update and report. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to start with an update on the applications that are currently open. We have a few hours left for individuals who are applying both as a retail business with a location with site control over real estate, and for micro businesses applying with site control over real estate. Please be sure to put your final touches on your application, hit send before 5 p.m. today, which is the deadline for that application. This week, we also wrapped up our statewide roadmap to adult use applications tour. I want to thank the OCM external policy communications teams who have been hitting the road to talk to New Yorkers in every region of the state. We started in Harlem last month. We've now held 20 outreach and education events, spoken with hundreds thousands of prospective applicants about the opportunity provided in this application window. During these in-person and virtual events, I've hosted 2 or 3 myself. We're able to connect with New Yorkers, answer the application questions in real time, and help folks understand better adult use regulations. When questions were posed during these sessions, we were also able to update the broader FAQ that everybody has access to so that nobody missed out an opportunity to learn from the questions being raised. And so I'm really proud of the work that's been done to educate. I want to thank our community-based organization partners who've also helped elevate the opportunity and make sure more folks are aware of what we're doing to build out New York's cannabis supply chain. I also want to highlight that we do have another application that opened between this meeting and our last one. The expansion of the registered organizations, the mandate in the law that required us to increase the diversity of the registered organizations. This application opened October 30th or 31st, and the window's open until December 19th. There's also running FAQ for this application on the website. Interested applicants were also able to submit questions and get those answered by the office. We've got 2 new initiatives on the medical side. As stated by our previous discussion, not much attention was paid to the medical program before the creation of the office, or expansion rather, of the people able to be served or the conditions, et cetera. We had a significant expansion under the passage of the MRTA, but we have been on the ground doing a lot of work trying to educate New Yorkers about the benefits of medical cannabis. And so we're taking and launching 2 initiatives that I think will help also with that work. The first is the establishment of a medical cannabis advisory council. This will be a group that we're pulling together to utilize the experts of certifying practitioners and pharmacists who are already in the program to help assist with the development of clinical guidance documents and resources to help educate healthcare professionals on how to better or more effectively treat patients with cannabinoid-based medicines. The inaugural cohort will be of 13 council members, and they're going to focus on 4 specific clinical priority areas: gastrointestinal disorders, developmental and behavioral disorders, women's health conditions, and mental health conditions. The second initiative the group is Medical Cannabis Ambassador Program. And so we're utilizing certifying practitioners and pharmacists as well to conduct presentations and trainings to healthcare professionals seeking to learn more about the endocannabinoid system, cannabis science, and cannabis pharmacology. We're pleased to, of course, have launched the first state cannabis-based research program, but the education that needs to be done here around the benefits of this plant never ends. And so this group will help train the medical community on cannabis and updates in cannabis research. Will be trainings will be targeted to both healthcare providers interested in participating in the medical cannabis program and those who may not be interested but do want to learn a bit more about cannabis consumption, a topic that's not covered by most medical schools. The deadline to submit applications for both programs is December 4th. If you're interested in participating, we really welcome you to be a part of those conversations. And now I'm going to turn to John, our Director of Policy, to give our monthly market update.
While he's making his way up, may I just ask,
sure,
where are the applications available?
The applications will be available on our website. We can update the banner, and we'll also be putting it out on social media, but we can update the banner on the website to highlight that where the applications are available.
And can you just repeat, what is the time today, the close of business for applications?
The close of business for applications for folks applying with site control of a location, either as retail or micro business with retail attached, is today at 5 p.m.
Madam Chair, if I may, can I ask a question as well?
Yes.
Sure thing.
Chris, for the advisory council, I guess I am, I'll tell you my interest before I ask the question, I guess. I'd want to make sure that, since the process for selecting is by applications, I'd want to make sure that we're also mindful of the kind of expertise that we want on the council, and wondering what approach you're taking aside from having an application to make sure that we have the diversity and in the applicant pool to consider.
Absolutely. Nicole, if you want to jump in on this one.
Oh, sorry about that. I had to find my mute button. Sure. So on our website, we do have more information around the requirements that we are looking for. And those requirements also include some diversity in the types of applicants that would be selected. So for example, we'd be looking for certain practitioners with experience in different arenas, again, which is outlined on the website, as well as including pharmacists who have experience with dispensing medical cannabis to patients and counseling patients. So again, looking also for that broad perspective as we work with this new council to develop guidance.
Let me clarify. So that's a very passive manner of which to solicit experts to apply. And in my experience, not everybody's looking at our at our website and may not see the headlines, may not see the news that this is happening. And so I'm wondering what kind of proactive outreach we're doing as an agency. How are we getting the word out beyond putting it on our website to make sure that the right folks hear about this opportunity?
Yeah, and we've also been working closely with our communications team. So I'll follow up with them just to make sure that we continue to navigate all available channels such as social media and other avenues beyond the website, which is already a part of that process. I just can't recall which ones have been launched at this point and which ones are awaiting launch.
And can I ask, could you also engage our other advisory board? I know that there's a lot of folks on that board who would likely have have a wide network that they can also share this opportunity with. And so I want us to use all the tools in our tool shed to make sure we're getting the right folks on the council.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have communicated with Dr. Chin, so she's aware of these initiatives, but we will certainly go broader and share with the advisory board as well.
Thanks, Nicole.
Can I just add that because of the federal illegal issue for academics, there is interest in academia for people to be involved in this, but it's really difficult because we risk losing all of our other funding, and we risk putting our campuses in jeopardy of losing funding. And so if there is a way for academics to be involved in this in a indirect way so that they are not directly involved in the research but are part of an advisory council would be really helpful as well.
Yeah, great feedback, and can certainly take that back to see how we can engage more on that front.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out the comms team as well, who have been promoting the engagement forum on social, as well as hosting some other live chats with folks in the medical cannabis space to encourage participation in the program. So we're going to keep pushing that to make sure we have the diverse participation from all folks in the medical field. I'll turn it to John.
Yes, John, please.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, board members. So we now have 27 retailers open, and we've run 54 cannabis grower showcases across the state, and we continue to receive 2 to 3 CGS applications still a week. We've generated now nearly $110 million in sales, and from the CGSs alone, we're at nearly $3.5 million, which I think has perfectly captured the intent of this program: increase access and provide more retail opportunities for our growers. So we've officially broken the $100 million mark. I think this is a critical milestone for the market. I think it continues to reflect incredible retail velocity. And with the extraordinary effort that our retailers have put forward in getting their stores up, securing diverse products, and getting customers in, we continue to see strong growth amongst the operators that we currently have open. It's been interesting to watch the evolution of our revenues over time. We're consistently hitting between $4.5 and $5 million a week. We saw our revenues go up to $21.5 million in September. That's partly because September was an unusual reporting week. It had an extended reporting cycle where it captured 5 weeks rather than 4. Across the 23 operators, we've just had our 24th through 27th open. But across our 23 operators, we've been consistently generating between $17 and $19 million. That's been incrementally growing with every week. Over the last 3 weeks, we've had a significant number of our retailers hit new high watermarks on their revenue, which to us continues to show that even those who've been open for a long time continue to attract new customers in and continue to drive new sales. So at $109 million, and the fact that we continue to hit these numbers, even as we've had several retailers closed either permanently or partially for renovations, those tend to be disruptive for business operations. It's meant that across this arc, we've never actually had a point where all of our licensed operators were open at the same time. And we're now getting to the tail end of that renovation and construction period. Dazed just opened, Good Grades just opened. Housing Works is nearing the tail end of their build out. So we're really bullish to see what happens to these numbers once we get these stores back fully operational, and these businesses can then really drive and focus their attention on bringing customers in. On the CGSs, just kudos to the growers, processors, and retailers who have continued to make these opportunities available across the state. The fact that we've had nearly 1,400 CGS days scheduled throughout the year, we've completed more than half of those, but have nearly 800 left. So nearly 88 CGSs per day through the end of the year means that even as we continue to work through getting more doors open, the CGSs provide a really important vector for retail sell-through for our growers. And I'll note, and I think Dr. Gilbert Jenkins will find this of interest, that we've continued to maintain that spread where the majority of products being sold are flower products, either loose flower or pre-rolls, which really attains that goal of making sure our growers who have usable product to sell have as many opportunities as possible to sell those. So for those interested in both finding a CGS or participating in one, cannabis.ny.gov/find-a-CGS to find the locations across the state where we currently have CGSs running. We currently have 38 operational across the state. And just a final snapshot about kind of how our retail ecosystem continues to evolve. So I said we were at $4.5 million a week on average and rising. I think over the next couple of weeks, we'll start consistently hitting about $5 million a week in revenue. But one of the things that as we've started to delve more deeply into the data we have access to, a few things stood out to me. One, we have over 200 retail brands now across our market. Several cultivators and processors are producing multiple brands, but we're seeing kind of the beginning of this rich brand diversification in our market, and that's only going to accelerate as we issue more cultivator, processor, and distro licenses. Two, this diversity of brands is reflected in our stores by two measures. Our stores on average are carrying over 50 brands, and over 70% of our stores are carrying more than 200 SKUs. We think this is one of the critical differentiators between the legal market and the unregulated market, the number of SKUs that an individual store can carry. You're certainly not seeing a great deal of unlicensed shops that have this level of diversity of product. And we think this is one of the things that is having customers come back into the legal store is the breadth of choice that allows them to choose products that reflect their unique use cases. And the final point I wanted to make is around the distribution of prices that we're seeing in our market. We've listed here the average prices of individual units, but as we're looking at this data, one of the things that jumped out is the spread of the prices. In all of our categories, we have products that are at or sub $10 and that go up to over $100 per category. The reason this is important is, we've had people who have not participated in the legal market talk about products in New York being expensive. And we would just say that that is not true from what we're seeing in our stores. This is not a one-size-fits-all market. There's a huge amount of diversity. There's a spread of price points at which you can purchase products, both at different sizes and at different market positions. And so there's really something for everyone in this market. And we think this is another reason why the legal market presents such a compelling value proposition. Not only can you find a rich diversity of products, but you can find products at every price point that you might be wanting to shop at. And this, again, is just another point that we think the legal market will continue to leverage to draw consumers in. So another overview of the retail performance of the market. Our December update will be a more comprehensive look at everything that's been happening in the market over the course of this year. But the trend continues. We're seeing strong momentum in our legal stores. We think the end of this licensing period and the opening, the issuance of new retail licenses and getting those stores open will really be catalytic to the momentum we've built so far. But we remain very pleased with the performance of our retailers thus far and look forward to the continued growth of this sector.
May I ask, I'm sorry, before I ask, are there any questions from the board? Any members have questions or comments? I did want to ask, could you briefly just highlight again, what are the parameters for how CSGs operate and how people can identify what they are in their communities and what is actually operating within the guidelines or the guardrails that we've created?
Sure. So the CGS program was envisioned, the Cannabis Grower Showcase program was envisioned as a way to provide non-conventional, non-traditional retail access out of non-storefront locations. So there's several key parameters that we require in order for a CGS to take place. One is that you need a minimum of 3 cultivators to organize a CGS and the retailer to execute the transactions at a CGS. For every 3 growers you have, you need at least one, you can have at least 1 processor, but that ratio must be maintained. So if you have 6 growers, you can have a maximum of 2 processors. At least 2/3 of the product has to be from the cultivators. So the idea here was to really ensure that the growers' products were being showcased. The locations where the CGSs are being held must meet all of the same rules that our retail locations must meet. So distances from other cannabis operations, from schools and houses of worship, you must be in an opt-in community. Critically, and this is perhaps maybe a distinction from the way our retail kind of model works. But for each CGS, you must get a letter from the municipality to conduct the CGS at the specified location and for the specified hours. And so even for the CGSs that might be wanting to move from one location to another within the same community, you've got to go and get municipal approval for that. We want to make sure that the municipalities, the communities are well engaged in this process. We have rules around things like retail markups, how much a retailer can charge above the wholesale price that the growers are charging them. Their retailers are required to have detailed plans for staffing, for security, for product management. Before each CGS, the organizing entities must submit to us a detailed inventory list, which we review to make sure that it's not only compliant for legal product, but that it also includes product that meets that distribution, that balance between growers and processor product. And they cannot run for more than 14 days consecutive before they have to close down for a few days. On the back-end operation side, within the office, we're requiring these operators to submit at least bi-weekly reports of their sales that include all of the product that was sold, how much was taken back to the individual operators. And so we have several teams that are involved in managing this program with the goal of ensuring that we're seeing compliance across these very many facets of what's a fairly large and complex program.
In December, do you think we'll be able to get numbers on how much of the surplus flour we've been able to sell?
Absolutely. So all of the analysis we've been doing has been trying to kind of get us to the point where we'll be able to assess the total raw biomass that has been sold, both through the CGSs as well as through our retail stores.
Okay, thank you. Any additional comments? Questions?
I just want to say you're right. The first thing that jumped out to me was how much flour and pre-rolls were sold there, and I was very happy to see that.
So thank you, Chris and John, for your presentation. Our next order of business will be providing members of the public an opportunity to address the board. Again, we're not answering any questions, but we welcome you to take this opportunity to share your thoughts. Each member addressing the board will have no more than 2 minutes to speak on their item. And please note, if you've submitted comments electronically, those will be captured in the meeting minutes for today's meeting and posted on the website. So with that, let's begin our public comment period. Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm going to call the first person and just mention the second person's name so that you can be queued up to come stand up here. Let's begin with Walter Iwachu. I know I mess up your name every time. Sorry. And you'll be followed by Elizabeth Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm disappointed we don't know anything about the settlement. And I have a presentation in front of QB2 on Monday. Can I use some of these slides?
They're on the website.
Okay, but
I
permission.
don't answer questions though.
Okay. Thanks for your work.
Thank you. Elizabeth Smith, followed by Jeff O'Neill.
Hi, good morning. My name is Elizabeth Smith, and I am the owner of Westchester Harvesting Company. And I'm a school teacher in Mount Vernon, which I do every day. And I'm a cards licensee. Received my license in May, and I have been ready to open since July 28th. I was on the list of 30, and I pray every day that I can get open. I find that communications with the OCM is where I'm the most frustrated. Sometimes I wait days, weeks, just for a generic response. But when I'm out there negotiating and I'm talking to the municipalities about my location and how I'm going to get open, if I don't have the information that I need in order to convey my point to the landlords and to the municipalities, I'm at a disadvantage. I'm very highly educated. I know the regulations by heart, and I go into negotiations on a lease agreement, and I'm underserved because I've emailed the OCM and I don't have a response. And I find that I understand the injunction has halted communications. I totally understand that. But prior to that, communication was substandard as well. So that's just my comment. Please communicate with us cards. We're working our tails off to get open. And I know you support us. So thank you.
Thank you. Jeff O'Neill, followed by Zamaya Lewis.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to comment here. I'm Jeff O'Neill. I'm the founder of Industrial Arts Brewing Company here in New York State. I'm a craft brewer and I'm a member of the Hemp Beverage Alliance. Like so many other businesses, manufacturing and otherwise here in New York, we've been hit really hard by pandemic conditions. and our brewery is left with excess capacity and 30 jobs at risk. We identified a significant demand for federally legal Delta-9 hemp-derived Delta-9 craft beverages and a lack of New York suppliers. We've observed sensible, successful models work in states like Minnesota for these products that tend not to fit well into the adult use retail channel. We began our application process in May for a cannabinoid hemp processing license, and we also hold a cannabinoid hemp retailer license. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars, countless of hours over the last 6 months, training our team and bringing them and our facility up to current good manufacturing practice standards for licensing. Ironically, these standards are much higher than those for alcoholic beverage manufacturing. And the other standards that the OCM and CCB have in place through the channel for distribution and sale are very comparable to alcoholic beverage, including age gating around purchases and marketing and labeling restrictions. You said yourself during this meeting that you already hold your licensees to a high standard. The OCM has issued dozens of manufacturing and distribution licenses for cannabinoid hemp and thousands of retail licenses, collecting millions of dollars for a channel that you're functionally closing with today's regulatory ruling. As a member of the Hemp Beverage Alliance, we're advocating for safe and sensible low dose, accurately labeled low dose beverages at 5 milligrams per serving, using the success shown at every level. Thanks for hearing me out. Please reconsider.
Thank you. Ms. Lewis, followed by Omar Duran. Zamia?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say at this point. You can't hear me still? Okay. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I never got up here and had nothing to say. I'm speechless. I'm still not open. I asked for a little clarity last time. I still know nothing. I still have no money. Excuse me. We don't know how to move forward. We're just paying rent, paying on everything that we put in, and we have nothing coming in, and we can't afford it anymore. I don't know what to do anymore. I really don't know what to do. I guess some type of communication, something, just something. You get a glimpse of hope, and then it's taken away. And then you get a glimpse of hope and it's taken away. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say, but thank you.
Omar Duran, followed by Jay Moskowitz.
So, hello, everyone. My name is Omar Duran. I'm CEO, founder of a company called Life3. We've been dealing with energy efficiency and workforce development, providing digital and technology solutions. I'm just really excited to see where we're heading with cannabis in the city, and I'm interested to know if there's any regulations being put in place around energy efficiency for growers, and the jobs that may result from that, and just making sure that it's equitable, the way that NYSERDA and Con Edison has sort of been striving to make sure that we have jobs for everyone available. So just excited overall.
Thank you. Jay Moskowitz, followed by, I'm not sure exactly what this says. It looks like Annette. Is that Annette? Yes, okay, you're followed by Annette.
Hi, my name is Jay Moskowitz. I'm the founder of a company called Bimble here in New York. And I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I don't really have a dog in the fight about the hemp regulations. Bimble is fully compliant with even the new regulations. I'm speaking more about on behalf of my colleagues at the Hemp Beverage Alliance, an alliance of brands, maybe close to 75 across the country. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Who is this hemp regulation going to benefit? The only answer I could come up with is the marijuana growers. And that's a noble cause to protect the marijuana growers. I don't disagree with that. But there are dozens of better ways to protect them. Let me explain something about the drink market. There's an old saying, if it ain't cold, it ain't sold, which means on a retail level, you need refrigeration, you need space, you need displays. And if you go to California, Colorado, some other early states, these dispensaries don't like selling drinks. It takes up too much room, it's low margin. You're not protecting anyone by making it difficult to sell safe drinks with caps. I agree that we should have limits, but 1 milligram is probably not enough for all the other constituencies that would like to have safe drinks with controlled dosing, with managed expectations of onset. This is what drinks bring you in safe co-packing facilities. So I'm just asking you as a fellow New Yorker, please, this conversation is probably not over. Let's have an open dialogue. Let's just talk openly about this and come up with sensible regulations. Thank you.
Annette, followed by Nancy. Mui. Okay. Annette. All right. I'm getting you. Okay, so after Annette, we'll hear from David Nikponsky.
Good morning. My name is Annette Fernandez. I'm an activist from Washington Heights and the founder of High Exposure Cannabis Development Business Agency. I know I have a lot of hats. If the injunction has stopped at least 150 stores from opening, although there are 453 licensees that are in limbo and may be waiting for a new license approval now, that would generate $600 million a week at the current run rate. The state should be careful to celebrate numbers that we know could be better had it not been for all the fumbles and corporate interference. The chair today said that we are tireless. We are not. We are currently fueled by the knowledge that we have come too far to turn back and we have no other choice but to continue gambling with our lives and our pensions and our family savings and our mental health. This is what MSOs lose sleep over, and it's why we are now officially in a rage. We know what the market is worth, and we have the best products because it's been done here for decades. This is why we are such a threat to the Curaleafs and the Varicites and the parasites of the world. We have intellectual property in cannabis like none other, and we are discerning connoisseurs. It's not lost on me that I walked by Citadel this morning, one of the largest hedge funds in the world with $62 billion in assets under management. A reminder that registered operators are funded by pooled investment vehicles that need to provide returns to shareholders. No holds barred as long as there is a return on investment. A reminder of just what scrappy small New York adult use businesses are up against. It's clear that these corporations have mechanisms in place to get things changed really quickly by the Cannabis Board, all the while members of the board recuse themselves from the discussion. The board must consider adopting mechanisms where feedback from the market and regulations that negatively impact revenue and do this quickly so that more money is not lost.
After David, we're going to hear, after David, we'll hear from Sarah Click.
Excuse me, we forgot to sign in. Is it possible?
All right, members of the control board and the OCM, thank you for the opportunity to again speak to you. I'm David Nikponsky, a card licensee, founder of retail dispensary Freshly Baked New York, and the director of business development for the New York Cannabis Retail Association. These last 3 months have been perhaps the most stressful of my entire life and the lives of my 450 plus fellow card licensees. We've been watching horrified at the prospect of all of our hard work months of time spent, and millions of dollars invested capital going up in flames. We licensees came here in mass to witness progress toward the resolution of the problem and the harm that we are facing. The fact that this was delayed further this morning is unconscionable to me. How can this situation be considered okay? It is not okay. It is not even close to okay. It needs to be fixed now, not in a month, not when the application window closes. Now, people's futures and their families' well-being are literally on the line. We've trusted you. We've trusted our state. We have answered the call. The illegal shops who are flaunting the rules and financing this attack upon the state are thriving, profiting tremendously, and appropriating millions of dollars from local communities, while those of us who trusted you and followed all the rules are being systematically destroyed. We are not a model of equity for the world to follow. We are a laughingstock. This cannot wait any longer. Now is the time to step up and show us and the world that our trust in you was not misplaced. Schedule an emergency meeting today and get this problem solved. Please. Thank you.
Sarah, and she'll be followed by Trina Johnson.
Hello, my name is Sarah Cho. I'm the founder of Reform Botanicals, a CBD wellness company for people who believe in the culture of healing. We are a completely bootstrapped small business that launched late last year. After reviewing the emergency hemp regulations, it was incredibly frustrating and disappointing to read about the sudden changes in the dosage guidelines for hemp products. I currently sell full spectrum CBD tinctures, which dose 50 milligrams per 1 ml, a total of 1,500 milligrams of CBD per 1 ounce tincture. With the new hemp regulations, we would not be able to sell our products in New York State anymore. We operate on a limited budget and lack the resources to undertake extensive repackaging or reformulation efforts to meet these new requirements. More importantly, from a customer perspective, this would deny accessibility to safe and effective CBD products. Our current formulas have been meticulously crafted and have garnered the trust of our loyal customer base due to their significant positive impact on health and overall well-being. There are clinical studies that have proven the importance of having 0.3% THC in CBD products, which are naturally occurring cannabinoids in full spectrum hemp, to create an entourage effect for effective treatment. Changing these formulas would not only be financially burdensome for us, but also detrimental to the individuals who rely on our products for health needs. I know myself and other founders want to be compliant. I would ask OCM to work more closely with founders and small businesses who are subject matter experts in plant medicine and have been supportive and agreeing with OCM's efforts to maintain a safe cannabis market. My question is there any room for open discussion to review and edit the hemp regulations together? Thank you.
Thank you. Trina Johnson, followed by Jamie Galvis. And I'm going to ask if Jamie can come up now, and you'll be followed by Oleg Mariasis. So just so that we'll be close to the mic. Thank you, please.
Okay. My name is Jamie Galvis. I am the founder of Hustle & Flow. We are a multifunctional wellness brand based in Brooklyn. Our primary products are CBD, full spectrum CBD products, very much like Reform Botanicals. They are high potent products, 50 milligrams per soft gel. We have adaptogens, we have terpenes, we have beautiful products that they work. If you've ever had any type of mental health issues or sleep problems, if you would have tried our products, you will know that they work. Our customers love our products. Agencies like High Exposure want to represent us and so that we can enter the market, but we can't if you're making them illegal, essentially. You're not just affecting me and Reform Botanicals and Hemp and Humanity and Relixi and High Exposure. You're affecting everyone that has access to these products. They're certified organic, they're clean. I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that, you know, there's so much restriction with the hemp regulations, yet there's a loophole that you all left. And that's why all these illicit weed shops are open. And you mentioned safe and responsible and inclusivity. That's what I represent. I represent safety. I represent responsible products. I invested, and I'm going to say it to everyone, $90,000, my savings. I've worked my ass off. I don't come from money. And now I'm in the standstill. It's my livelihood. Eczema, I now have eczema because of my nervous system, because of this entire thing. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm at a loss here. You're affecting everything. And we just really want, Tremaine, we really want just to be able to sit down with you, all of us, as an industry, to be able to express why we came to this, why we're at this point. We submitted comments. My commentary was about 7 to 9 pages. I don't know that you read all of it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. My name is Oleg Mariasis. I've been in the New York's legal cannabis industry for over 12 years now. It's been a very difficult journey for my family and my partners. Particularly the last 8 years, I've been focusing on developing cannabinoid and terpene formulations, targeting the endocannabinoid system. And we started Lock and Key Remedies Incorporated, where I've been Director of Education ever since. Currently, I'm in my second year of University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, master's program for medical cannabis science and therapeutics. It's my duty to inform you that the regulation, the hemp regulation, is not evidence-based nor scientifically sound. I look forward to hearing what research was being referred to, because I do homework till 4 in the morning looking for the research, and it shows the counter. New York State is with the way the adult use program is being implemented, where wellness is prohibited, where you're not allowed to use the word wellness with cannabis, and the way the hemp cannabinoid regulations are taking place, cannabis use disorder is going to be a very big issue. I don't know if your research is showing you that, but I'll be glad to show you the research. The way to fight cannabis use disorder is to have CBD and THC combined, low THC, high CBD, and this regulation disallows that. So this is a major issue for the state, and you got to listen to the ladies. They're the majority of this industry. It was an embarrassment that all those comments were submitted and zero comment was made about them. That's completely unacceptable. And we're talking about diverse industry. This is diversity right here. And that's all I say. Thank you.
Bryce Sturm, I'm sorry, is this correct? Sturman is the last name, followed by Jeff Hoffman and then Matthew Richmond. So, thank you. No, Jeff, okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Bruce Sturman, unlicensed NYC. The unpleasant truth is the public does not know what a licensed store looks like. This is a photograph. This is a photograph of the governor introducing the license on December 15th, 2022. On stage is an image that is 5 feet by 3 feet. Please make it possible for everyone to know what a regulated, legal, licensed store looks like, where the owner has followed the rules. Please give every store a 5 foot by 3 foot copy of their license to put on their store windows. Every window. Give these stores a fighting chance to survive the unlicensed onslaught. And make the image familiar. Put it in subways and buses with a tagline: if you don't see this, you are buying unlicensed, untested, unsafe weed. Please make it possible, make the license larger, make it impossible to miss. Let the licensed stores flaunt their license as the unlicensed stores flaunt their flouting of the law in neon. Conversely, for the stores with a notice of violation, Make it impossible to miss the fact that illegal cannabis was seized here. Make the notice of violation 5 feet by 3 feet. Since you have a supply, I assume, of the current license, of the current ones, put up multiple licenses, cover the window, make it impossible to see in, as impossible as it is to see into the licensed stores. Make it impossible to miss the fact that illegal cannabis was seized here. Please.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Yep. And followed by Matthew Richmond, then Carl Morasso.
Thank you. Good to see you all this morning. The application process is going really well. At least that's my perspective on it. And I'm going to have some things to say about the injunction here in a second, but the staff at OCM has really done a bang up job here. The materials that were prepared, I think, are excellent. I've been participating in the CHIP program, helping folks. I think that was a fantastic program to do. So I just think what has been done for the application so far, we'll see how the award goes, but I just really compliments to all of you. This has really been, I think, a great application process. The materials are fantastic. Give the teams that did that raises, they're great. I do, of course, now want to speak a little bit. You know, unfortunately, I think a lot of people were expecting to hear something about the settlement this morning that at least the plaintiffs has sent a letter to the judge might be happening. I stood before you at a previous meeting and said that codifying card was your solution. It still is. The legislature is going to come back into session here in January. I recommend highly that you concentrate your efforts on lobbying them to do this. Senator Cooney had his hearing. Seemed like there was a lot of interest in it. They in fact directly asked you if you would be interested in doing it. I think you should really talk to them about this. I'm very concerned about what settlement you might enter into here, unlike Verisight, where there was only one person on earth that had standing to sue. There are other people, and plenty of them, that have standing to sue, like the plaintiffs that you currently have. And so it's not really clear to me and the other attorneys in the cannabis bar in the state that I speak with regularly, how you're going to do this and prevent other people from potentially suing. I know you can't tell us what you're thinking about, but codifying card is your solution here. So I strongly encourage you to think about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl, followed by Brianna Neff. You, Carl?
I'm Matt Richmond.
I'm sorry, Matt Richmond, then Carl, then Brianna. Sorry, yes, you got it.
Thank you. Hemp licensees, you've heard from some of them today, invested in New York because they thought they were entering a regulated market with room to grow into a future marijuana market. Since the emergency regulations were first proposed in August, 4,000 licensees and 17,000 petitioners opposed them during a public comment period. Since then, operations that have acted in full compliance with state regulation, as it has been, are being driven out of business. The hemp code already stipulates that all products must be safe and lab tested with age restrictions. There's no question that this is an industry in need of regulation, but this rule does more to torpedo businesses than ensure public safety. Notably, many of these hemp licensees operate in regions that have not opted into the marijuana program. Can the board really promise that this rule promotes safe trade in regions where no legal option exists? It is worth mentioning, finally, for those unaware, that a New York judge issued a ruling last week that refuted the office's claim that this rule is in the interest of public safety. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Carl, and then Brianna. Did you guys just say Carl left? Yeah, Carl left. Okay, sorry, so Brianna, please. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna Neff. I am a certified food scientist. I studied at Cornell University, and I am a proud brand owner of Brelixy, which is a functional hemp drink mix. And I'm here today to talk about the hemp regulations, of course, and the quote unquote emergency behind it. I just want to start off by saying, what is it that qualifies cannabis from hemp as an immediate public threat? I feel like it goes without saying that there are tons of more toxic and dangerous substances sold every day in stores across the state, from tobacco to alcohol to cold medicine. When fentanyl is tearing through our communities, mental health is tearing apart our families, homelessness will leave thousands cold in this winter. Migrants have been bused to the city, hopeless and penniless. How can a state with one hand promote a substance and with the other hand attack it as a threat? How is cannabis distinct exactly from hemp? The state has adopted since 2016 that cannabis is medicine, and this very board is rolling our recreational cannabis retailers all over the state. How is it that cannabis from hemp is once again being demodified? So again, I really want to just emphasize that hemp has amazing health benefits, and there shouldn't be any distinct difference between that and cannabis. And I would really like to understand the regulations and the research and the scientific evidence that goes behind that, especially as we're rolling out and allowing for more cannabis type of dispensaries to enter the market. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to say thank you to everyone that has taken time to come and talk with us today and for sharing your comments. It is always important and informational for all of us at the board to hear from you directly. Helps us to better understand the issues before us and your concerns. And it gives us some different perspectives as we proceed in this work. So please note that the time, location, and a live stream link will be shared on cannabis.ny.gov in advance of the next Cannabis Control Board meeting. A recording of today's meeting, our meeting minutes, and a transcript will be posted as well. This concludes our business for today. So without further ado, may I please have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
And have a second. If there are no questions or comments, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Aye. I think that it's unanimous. The motion to adjourn this meeting carries. Thank you all for joining us today. We will adjourn now. Thank you.